What is going on, guys? This is your SmackDown post-show review. Now, the matches that was announced for tonight was going to be a contract signing between RK Bro and the Bloodline, the Usos. We had a segment with Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. We had a steel cage match announced between Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn. And that was pretty much about it for that opening. But as we get into the show, I just want to say be sure to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe if you are tuning in to listen to the post-show review tonight. And I can't forget about the Intercontinental Championship tonight between Ricochet and Sheamus. Now, the show is open up. Wait, I forgot to mention that they was going. I did say they're going to do a contract sign, and then they were going to be a beat the clock match, which I didn't see the I quit challenge, so it's kind of interesting. But it was going to be Ronda Rousey versus Shashi and Charlotte Flair versus Elite in a beat the clock I quit challenge match, and it was all stupid because they couldn't just do a regular beat the clock match, but it is what it is. Let's just get into the show. Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn in the steel cage match. They open up with the match. As Sami Zayn's the last one to come, he is stalling. Drew McIntyre throws him and closes the door. Then Sami tries to escape again, but Drew gets him. He throws him around cages again. Sami Zayn with a sunset flip powerbomb off the top rope as he was trying to escape. Not only that, but Drew and Sami were sending each other into the cage wall, and yet Sami finds the opportunity to climb over the cage, but Drew catches him again, sending him back face first into the cage wall. Now, Sami was on the cage, and he kicks Drew's leg, which made Drew get in between his legs with the ropes. Eventually, Sami Zayn was almost over the cage, but Drew got him. He must be wearing the cup. He gets him, throws him out on the ground, hits him with the net breaker. He readies it up for the Claymore, but Sami tries to climb out the cage again. But McIntyre hits a superplex, and then goes for the Claymore after doing the belly to belly. And Drew gets the win again. Actually, Sami did hit a hell of a kick on Drew in the cage as well, but Drew gets the win. It was a Charlotte Flair interview. You really didn't miss much, to be honest. Just an interview. She said she doesn't get humiliated or embarrassed. She is Charlotte Flair. La la la. We get another Happy Corbin segment. It's time for Happy Talk. Happy Corbin says the show is new and improved now that Madcap Moss is no longer on the show for his awful jokes, dragged and showdown. He says the only thing Madcap Moss did was funny was think that he was him and think that he can beat him. He cannot wait to see the look on Madcap Moss' face when the trophy is broken into pieces. And he said that victory should have been given to him because he made him and he molded him. He then asked for a sledgehammer. The sledgehammer was brought out by a stagehand who happens to be Madcap Moss. He tries to run away, but Madcap Moss gets his hands on him and beats him up, forcing Corbin to retreat. Then we get the Intercontinental Championship. Ricochet versus Shanky. This was a fun match for what it was. Ricochet with the springboard crossbody after a whirl of offense from Shanky. Near fall, Ginger trips Ricochet off the top rope. The ref didn't see it. Shanky goes for something, but Ricochet turns it into a stack-up pin to retain. After the match, Drew McIntyre throws out Shanky, and Shanky walks out on him. We get an interview between Rocky Rodriguez. She said she used to having eyes all on her before admitting that she was nervous. She did not like being the center of the attention and plans to put on a show and makes an impact that no one will forget. And then she had a squash match. Okay. And then we get a backstage segment from Marcel. I don't know how to say that man's name, new name, Louis Kaser and Gunter. Marcel said that Gunter is the embodiment of the greatest as he pulverized any and every opponent he faces as they showed a video package. Gunter said respect will be taken by the ring general. I like where this is going, but like I said, there's gotta be, consistency with this man, but it's not his fault. The roster is thin, it's very thin right now. I don't actually know what they got planned for him next. I really don't. And then we get to the contract signing. RK Bro heads to the ring for the contract signing at WrestleMania Backlash. The WWE official Adam Pearce is in the ring as the Usos heads to the ring at the commercial break. Technically, the Uso was talking about how they was going to, RK Bro was going to be doing all the acknowledging at WrestleMania Backlash. And then Matt Riddle said he can't tell between the two. Now I don't know if that's said like this whole I can't tell which is getting kind of old. You should know who Jimmy and Jay Uso is by now. But he says maybe they need name tags. Then Randy Orton all of a sudden said, "I got you, bro. Listen, Jay Uso is the right-handed man. And Jimmy Uso is nothing but a little B." He called Jimmy Uso a little bitch. And that was funny because it pissed it off Jimmy Uso. He hit Randy with a right hook or a left hook, and all brawl was held loose. And they started going after each other for a bit, and then Roman Reigns comes out. He's distracting the RK Bro. The Usos take advantage. They super kick Randy Orton and did they tag team finisher on Riddle. As they get in the ring, they picks up Riddle. Roman Reigns picks up the contract and rips it up before stuffing it in Riddle's mouth and punching Riddle in the face. All of a sudden, Drew shows up. And lays out the Uso, then gets in the ring to brawl with Roman, but Roman Reigns retreats after Drew McIntyre throws him across the ring with a belly-to-belly suplex. Man, Roman Reigns retreats, and then we get a backstage segment with Paul Heyman and Adam Pearce. Now, I thought this was going to be a one-on-one match between these two, McIntyre and Roman Reigns, at WrestleMania Backlash for the Universal and WWE Champion, but I'm actually glad it didn't happen. But I was disappointed with where they was going with this when Paul Heyman said maybe we should do a RK Bro and Drew versus the Bloodline, Roman Reigns and the Usos at WrestleMania Backlash in the 6-man tag team match. And he said he cannot do that because of the tag team titles, but Heyman said he will once he would go to the board of directors. And like I said, it was all kind of interesting because he said he was sure he would do that. And it was just, I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. We get Shayna Baszler and Naomi in a 3 minutes match. Shayna Baszler goes for the clutch submission, but Naomi gets out of it. She's able to roll Baszler up and gets the win. After the match, Natalya attacks Naomi and Sasha Banks tries to defend Naomi. Natalya drives Sasha Banks knee first into the ring apron before putting her into the sharpshooter around the bottom ropes while Baszler plants Naomi. Naomi forces Sasha to watch as Shayna Baszler stomps Naomi elbow. She do her little elbow signature move, and Sasha Banks was forced to watch it. It was announced that Butch has been missing since last week's SmackDown. Backstage, Sheamus tells Ridge Holland that they had to find Butch and that he has put posters everywhere, then brag about what they going to do to Xavier Woods. Now it is Ridge Holland versus Xavier Woods. Austin Creed is his real name. Xavier Woods on SmackDown. The 6-man tag team match between the team of Drew McIntyre and RK Bro and the team of Roman Reigns and Usos at WrestleMania Backlash is official. I also forgot to mention that the Women's Tag Team Championship match between Naomi and Sasha Banks will be taking on Natalya and Shayna Baszler in 2 weeks. Another thing I want to talk about is how they photoshopped Pete Dunne being at Las Vegas and having a party. I actually thought that was funny because he didn't react to do nothing. They just showed his window, and I thought that was funny. But regardless, before the match started, Kofi Kingston makes fun of Sheamus and Ridge Holland for losing Butch after a month and a half, while he and Xavier Woods been together since 2014. He makes fun of Sheamus. He makes fun of Sheamus and calls him Shake It Sheamus for having more tag team partners than Kofi, saying Sheamus will be shaking it outside of the ring while he's destroying Ridge inside the ring. Eventually, Woods with the tornado DDT on Ridge on the outside. Ridge catches Woods out of the air and spikes him down for a power bomb, but Woods just limps downward. Ridge Holland strikes at the back, but when he goes for the power bomb, Woods wins with a backwoods again, which is a roller, right? Eventually, Sheamus tells Ridge that he will show how it's done and challenge Kofi Kingston to a one-on-one match. He said there's no excuse for an apology. He said sorry is not going to cut it and challenged Kofi Kingston to a one-on-one match. Kofi Kingston accepts the match, and there is Sheamus versus Kofi Kingston on SmackDown. Sheamus and Kofi Kingston go at it for a bit, but eventually Sheamus gets the win. Sheamus tries to go for the bro kick. Kofi Kingston counters it into a SOS goes for the near fall. He gets on top rope. Sheamus hits him with the knee coming off the top rope, and then it goes for the bro kick for the 1-2-3 pin. And Sheamus wins the match. After the match, Sheamus, because he got Gunter on the Intercontinental Champion scene, and Roman Reigns, he's not getting the World Champion anytime soon. So I feel like it always should have been Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus at WrestleMania in Tampa during that time, but it was Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley. I feel like they could have did a triple threat match maybe, but he did win against Riddle for the United States Champion, so I wasn't too mad about that. Sheamus celebrates, and out of nowhere, Ridge Holland attacks Xavier Woods from behind on the outside. Then Sheamus pulls the table out from underneath the ring, sets it up as Ridge holds Woods down, and then Ridge Holland then powers bomb Xavier Woods through the table. Now, I want to say I'm glad Sheamus didn't take an L tonight because he's actually underrated. And, you know, if you watch him during the pandemic era, then you would know what I'm talking about. He deserves a lot more than what he's doing right now. So, I don't know if he ever going to win a championship again because... And then we get a Lacey Evans segment again. Now, first off, we hear from Lacey Evans. I just want to say, why did they feel like it was the need to change Lacey Evans' gimmick in the first place? I feel like it wasn't needed. She could have came back as a heel, attacked somebody, and then got back on the road. They don't really have enough heels on SmackDown in the women's division, except for Charlotte Flair, the main heel. Unless they bring it back Bayley as a heel on SmackDown, I just don't see the reason. But I'd rather prefer for Bayley to be on Raw away from Charlotte. There's no other heel, a woman's heel, no other heel on SmackDown except Charlotte Flair. So that's just weird to think about it. Lacey Evans could have taken that second spot. But anyway, she talks about how she was kicked out of her home at age 17 before graduating high school and graduating out of the boot camp and military police school and finding out that her father failed to show up at her graduation. Now, I'm not disrespecting her or saying I don't care about her struggles or, her way up to the WWE. I'm just saying, she was perfectly fine with her old gimmick. She could have said all of this with her old gimmick. There was no need for her to be with this gimmick change. Is they trying to make her a baby face or what? Because when you hear these storylines, all you see is a heel. I can't look at her as a baby face. I just can't. She's better. And then we get Ronda Rousey versus Shotzi in a I beat the clock match, I quit challenge. She wins in 127 minutes. And then we get Charlotte Flair. She tries to get Aaliyah. She tries to beat her, but she couldn't. She tried to submit her, but she couldn't. She gets mad and takes it out on Drew Gallagher and attacks him with the bell, hitting him on his back with the bell as the show goes off air. I just don't understand why they gotta use Drew Gallagher in this match. He doesn't deserve it. He really don't. Nevertheless, the Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey feud is so boring and irritating. They need to do something with it. But SmackDown wasn't really all that good. I did like the Sheamus and the Xavier Woods match, but we seen this segment for over a month now. Please change this feud. Sheamus deserves better. The steel cage match was okay, but we seen this over and over. The contract signing wasn't needed. And because, he rips up the contract, it just wasn't, what was the point of it? Does they mean they fight at SummerSlam or what? But if you guys enjoyed this post-show review, be sure to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more. And until next time, let me know what was your favorite moment from tonight's show. Did you like tonight's show or did you didn't like tonight's show? Nevertheless, let me know all down below. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell post notification. Until next